There are famous people in Star Trek. Captain Jean-Luc Picard is as famous as they get.
He's dead.
No. Oh, no, probably. Captain's Pod, Stardate 24/20/26.6.
2020.
Welcome aboard the Starship Enterprise, and thank you for joining us on our continuing voyages through the final frontier. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she has bat-like hearing and a bad case of the munchies. It's Ambassador Deneé. Oh, that's terrible. I'm probably going to have to edit that out. That hurt. Ouch.
Listen, you said I was batty.
I didn't. Yeah, all bats just go, eh.
Yeah, they have that little squeech thing.
Do they? They
In
all
the
have
movies.
They all have a squeak box?
I think that's how I think that they like project their sonar.
I think you've watched Ace Ventura too much.
Probably, but only because I was forced to for my job.
It's fair. I want to quickly pop quiz you. Name me the bad guys for this season, the big overall big bads. The group. What are they called?
Ooh, the big bad guys.
Yeah.
Oh, spiky ship people.
Yeah, there we go.
Greenish.
We don't actually know what they look
I
like.
mean, the ship, it looks, in my imagination,
Yeah.
it's a bit greenish.
Yeah, a little bit borgy. Podcast listeners, I've edited out approximately 16 minutes of pause. Sounds like a disease you might get in your groinal area. I've got a bad case of...
Excuse me, why am I getting this disease?
Yeah, you got a bad case of...
I don't want to say what STD I think I would get from you.
Oh, that's not what I meant at all.
I guess what are we doing here? Gonorrhea?
No, you got a bad case of Venari Ral.
Oh my God.
It sounds like that.
Wow.
All right, give me the bad guy's name.
Venari Ral.
No.
But you just told me that it was a
No,
Venari
the
Ral.
singular guy, the one played by Paul Giamatti.
Venali?
No.
Oh, Rufus.
Close.
Really?
Kinda. You got a US in there.
Usted?
No, this is like Star Trek Wordle, but I'm not giving you anything.
I don't know.
Nurse Braca.
Oh, the nurse. Nurse Braca.
Nurse Braca, yeah. Princess Buttercup's actual name.
Okay. I really tried last episode.
You've got to see her.
Venereal disease?
No. Terima.
She's gonna screamer.
Princess Kitty's real name.
I don't give a fuck. She's not
It
Princess
can't be
Kitty, she's
anything.
Captain Kitty.
That's fair.
By the way, she's not Princess Kitty, she's Captain Kitty.
Captain Kitty.
She's the queen of my heart.
Oh, now she's evolved. She's elevated.
Well, she's always been Captain Kitty.
Oh, wait, what did I call her?
I don't know.
Oh, did I call her Princess Kitty?
Yeah, who needs the recap of
I'm
names
the one
now?
getting the names wrong.
Yeah, no. If your point is to make it very clear at this point in our podcast series that I don't do well with names, I think you've proven your point. Do you think I should do better?
No.
Okay.
We haven't had a single complaint, I think.
We also need to remind you that our email is not the one listed in some descriptions. Please send your emails to iananddeneé@gmail.com because our OG email is still not working.
Please send all complaints there. Ambassador, this week's episode, it's episode 7 of Starfleet Academy Season 1, Cosine or Cosine.
Oh, that's this one?
That's the name of it,
Like
yeah.
a cosign? Like you're like cosigning on a document?
No, it's KO''ZEINE.
Oh, so it's like someone's name or planet.
Theory or a philosophy.
We've definitely veered away from the...
Mortgage document.
What?
Like cosign on a mortgage. If it's that and it's like an alien mortgage, that'd be this is just bureaucracy and paperwork.
No, I was going to say the Latin.
Oh, yes.
I thought that was going to be a theme for the entire...
No. Should have been, shouldn't it? Last week kind of scuppered that.
Well, then Sam episode, Scuppered the Scupper.
No. I guess Sam was a bit of a cheat because it was like series acclamation mill. Sounds like it could have been Latin.
Mm-hmm.
I could have like believed that as like the Harry Potter Latin. It sounds vaguely Latin, but isn't.
This one doesn't sound Latin at all.
No, it sounds German. Cosine. I keep thinking about a Romulan swear word, which is Korza. And if this ends up being something to do with Romulans, would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, have we seen any like just straight up Romulan yet?
In this series?
Because they're the ones that have like the sternocleidomastoid that goes out to like the edge of their...
No, it's Cardassians.
Oh, the Cardassians go all the way out?
Yeah. And what did you just call it?
The sternocleidomastoid.
The reptile thing that they have? Yeah. Yeah, those. Yeah, sorry, she just popped her neck out. She became a Cardassian.
I didn't pop my neck out. I flexed my sternocleidomastoid.
You know what a Romulan is.
You know what a sternocleidomastoid is.
I do now. The anti-Vulcans.
Oh, okay.
Romulans.
Right. Are they very gray color
uniforms?
They have
like the gray...
sort of like silver-ish.
Yeah, kind of like chainmail, but with more shoulder pads.
Okay, let's go back to Picard, the show Picard.
Must we?
And there was Data's daughter. And was she being trained by the Romulans? Like the secret group or the scientific group or something?
Soji and Daj, and I think Daj dies and Soji... Maybe Soji dies and Daj is the one that lives, but one of them is training with the Romulans.
Okay, so they were Romulan. Yeah.
They're the Romulans, yeah.
Okay.
We had emo boy Romulan with the floppy hair.
Yes.
Not the best example of a Romulan.
They do have less predominant features to see. Not quite as dominant neck region.
No, they don't. They've just got the big ears and the passion for war. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, what we're talking about? Curse words.
No idea. Yeah. What's this episode going to be about?
Curse words.
It better be about Romulans now.
Well, I'm still upset we haven't learned a lot about Genesis. And so it kind of seems a bit cheaty to just keep kind of singing the same song over and over again, because the last 3 episodes I've kind of considered that she would be one of the focal points of the show. But it was Sam. And then when I thought it was last week, it turned into the wildness that we saw. So it's really interesting because at this point, they've really ramped up the stakes. We have the show presenting that there is an entire station that has been taken over by a venereal disease. And we have the Academy, which has experienced a profound loss, which will no doubt kind of unite the two sides of the Academy, the War Academy and then like Starfleet. Yeah. And I'm curious if they're going to take the show in a direction where they're going to be sort of active participants in this universe going to solve the troubles of Starfleet. Because technically they're still students, so they need to graduate before they're just given a ship or something like that, you know?
And you would think they're not just given a ship either. They'll be with a crew.
Right.
And split up.
Of course. They're going to start as lower deckers or whatever.
Yeah. Whole ship of lower deckers.
So I guess the question, did we end last episode where we had returned back to San Francisco, or were we still in space? I think they'd been told to go back to San Francisco.
Yeah, I think they're still in space.
So I'm really curious what the show will do. Are we going to just be in San Francisco? Are they going to have a transition sort of episode where we're moving from where they are in space back to San Francisco?
What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping that we stay in space. It's such a nice pace shift, and I love being in space because I don't need to be in San Francisco.
This might be the wrong show for you. The Academy is based in San Francisco.
But they haven't really made us be on Earth a lot in the show, which is nice.
I think they have. We just haven't realised it because it's on the Athena.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that we've still sort of been in a ship, which feels nice. It kind of, so it feels like what I enjoy.
Yeah, it's kind of a just neat trick, actually.
When they look out the window, it's the San Francisco Bay instead of it being, a nebula or something. But whenever we go into space in modern Star Trek, because of the CGI, it looks so nice, and it's really something that, I don't know, I don't get to look at anything like that. So I like being in space a little bit better. But it is more dangerous, as we have noted, because we have had such a serious thing happen. So I'm just really curious, are we going to stay in space and transition back? Are we going to get to stay out and do some exploring and mission-minded stuff?
The interesting thing is that as much as I really enjoyed last week's episode, it's kind of got them a little bit stuck. Because one of the things I love about this series is that it is Starfleet Academy. We are learning about them at the Academy. Now, my gut instinct is I want to chase down Brucker and get the weapons back. And I want to be on the Enterprise pursuing him and doing that. And that's not what the show is. What I should be wanting is the Academy show to continue. So they go back to the Academy, carry on their lessons, while the actual starships go and do the job of getting these weapons back, apprehending Brucker and doing what they need to do. So I'm being pulled in that direction, whereas my mind is like, no, they should actually be back at the academy.
Right. But you think about it, and like the way that they've presented it is that I think the Athena, the ship, is the closest one to that starbase. So they may be trying to, imagine if the students convince everybody that they need to go on a rescue mission and try to pick up some pods.
It would be pretty fun. It would be fun.
Like what they should do is they should go over and pick up some pods and just steer clear of the Venari Ral people, and then we can...
I've done it now. I can't believe I've given you a name for them.
It's a name that all of us are regretting that you've done.
Yes, it's
and
fair.
Even myself. I'm gonna try to shift gears, but I don't know that I'll be able to.
USS Chlamydia. So
in this episode, I don't really know what to expect, which is exciting.
Yes.
Except for the broad stroke of we still don't know a lot about Genesis specifically. I don't know what's going to happen. We also know that Braca hinted at having even more in plan for
of course.
Captain Kitty, which
specifically.
I think involves his mother. So now that Braca...
Caleb's mother, yeah. Not Nuss's mother.
Right, sorry, yes.
Pronoun game.
I feel like now that Braca knows where the Athena is, it will be easier for him so that he knows where Caleb is specifically as well, that he's for sure in the spot. Braca can connect the mother and the son together, and with how many more episodes to go?
7, 8, 9, 10.
So 4 more episodes to go, including the one we're going to watch today. I'd be surprised if we're not really close to a mom-son reunion.
Yeah, and that would be a good way to kind of stick it to Nala as well, wouldn't it? Like she loses Caleb to Caleb's mother, who Nuss has turned evil or something. Like turning Caleb to the dark side might be a way to really hurt Nala.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely would, because she sees Caleb as sort of a redemption arc for herself.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Bit predictions are a little bit all over the place. We basically don't know because we don't have a clue what cosine means. So let's just head over to the holodeck and we'll see you in 10 Forward for a full debrief. To the beam out. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important, hey, that's rhymed. Every single episode that's rhymed. I've just never put the emphasis on it.
No, that was very emphatical.
Most important question first. What would you like from the replicator?
Ooh, noodles.
You can't have my noodles.
I want to slurp the noodles.
I ate them.
A little bit of insight. We decided to go ahead and have some ramen noodles. So when the show started, they started to cool off. And then when the credits played for this episode, both Ian and I picked up our cup of noodles and just tried to inhale as much as we could.
It's only the second time we've listened to the credits the whole way through.
Yeah.
And so we both were just like, we're going to take this moment to eat our noodles.
It wasn't because we wanted to watch the credits. It's because we were hungry.
Yeah, absolutely famished. We've gone from anyway, you don't need to know about our day.
No. I just want to say, if you're a founding tieflinger and you have access to my show notes, I have a picture that I posted of Ian slurping his noodles during the credit scene and the cat eyeballing the noodle cup. It's fantastic.
So much eye contact. You never know eye contact until a pet wants your food.
So I also guess maybe if I had to do something from the episode, it would be whatever Captain Kitty was pouring out of her flask, or the big carafe that she had at the beginning of the episode.
Thing?
Yeah. I assume it's alcohol.
You don't like whiskey though.
No, but maybe it wasn't whiskey.
Oh, maybe it's like Saurian brandy. No, I think that's blue. No, that's green. That's green. Sorry,
of
that's
course.
Green.
Everyone knows that.
Of course. Most TNG and TOS fans would know that.
Yeah, not me.
Not you. I want a warp slug. I don't know if we can replicate them. No, you maniac! What would that do to your That would move far. That would move through you faster than Taco Bell because it's at warp speed. Give us a synopsis of the episode.
Okay,
Ambassador.
In this episode, we get a taste of what Academy life could be like if we had a full episode dedicated to the interpersonal relationships between the students. And will we learn that this isn't the show we like? Or will we learn that there is something to be enjoyed from it? Based on Ian's expression across the room, I know how he's going to answer that question. But
you don't know what my expression is.
More specifically, we find out more about who I have been referring to as Transformer Boy, a.k.a. Darum.
Fish Boy.
And has been kidnapped to his own wedding ceremony on a not quite planet underwater, because I guess we didn't have the budget to go there. We had a budget to go to Vulcan planet. It looked very Vulcan to me.
It did actually. Yeah. It has that orange hue to it.
Yeah, and had like a ceremonial kind of vibe.
I could see that.
What I mean?
Like the Amok Time set for Vulcan. Yeah.
So on one kind of like part of this story, you have Darum and Jaden, who are on this planet and doing this very awkward wedding scenario. And then you also have Caleb and Genesis, who have decided to stay at the academy, even though everyone is leaving campus for a little vacation. And then Sam is off doing some spa days, getting herself unglitched. And so this is very much, I don't know if it's a bottle episode, because it doesn't seem like a bottle episode, but it's very much focused on the interpersonal relationships between Jaden and Darum and Genesis and Caleb. And that's pretty much the fullness of the episode. For Caleb and Genesis, I think the big bullet points are that they decide to hang out together, and Genesis basically convinces Caleb to hack into the bridge so that Genesis can fulfill a secret mission.
Yeah, you said it's a bottle episode. I think the entire season has been a multi-pack bottle episode. So
it's not quite right to call it bottle.
Each one is its own thing, is its own story that is connected to a 6-pack of bottles. Or a 10-pack in this case. So yeah, it's like an overflowing bottle episode.
This one just feels different because it's very much focused a lot more on the interpersonal back and forth between our academy characters.
Yeah. Well, you were worried going into this episode that there would finally be one that you didn't enjoy, or that was going to perhaps not meet how much we've been enjoying it so far. How do you feel about this episode? Overall thoughts and feelings before we dive into our specific kind of highlights and lowlights?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to probably be clipping through this one a bit because I don't think you and I enjoyed it as much. And I would definitely say, if I'm going to have to rank them, this is my least favorite so far, because I think the reason that it feels like a bottle episode is that this is like a filler episode. It feels like the relationships, the conversations, the storyline that they're giving for everybody on screen could have been something that was wrapped up in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I had so many like contradicting thoughts in my head, and this is the joy of being a flawed human, as Nala says. We all have our shit and our complexes in our brain. One of the things I've talked about with fellow Star Trek friends, and one of the things that we miss, are the filler episodes from 23 episode seasons. So with TNG, there are certain episodes you will never, ever see again, because you literally have the writers going, we have 26 episodes to write here. What the fuck do we do with 14, 16, 17, 21? Like, okay, cool, that's a crazy idea. I guess we do it. We haven't got the budget. Okay, we need to do Data Gets a Girlfriend episode. And some of the most surprisingly fun episodes and some of the most like kind of heartfelt episodes can be the filler ones that are a bit of a surprise. So when I was watching this, wondering why I was having such a piss poor boring time with it, I was like, man, Ian, you're a dick. This is the filler episode you want, but it's not in a 23 episode season. It's only in a 10 episode season. So I feel like it doesn't really have the authority to bore me. When there's only 10 episodes, you've got to pick the 10 best. You've got to be efficient. You've got to I don't know, make the most of those 10 episodes. And I'm not saying anybody behind the scenes isn't making the most of the opportunity, but this was not a product that I enjoyed.
I don't know that I didn't. It's not my favorite, but I did enjoy parts of it. And the things I think that stood out for me is that this show leans into emotional development and character development instead of maybe some silliness. Like, we do have like a warp slug in this episode, and we do have a stubbed toe. And so there is some silliness that's kind of present here.
Completely disconnected silliness.
It doesn't feel like what you're describing with TNG, where we have like a ludicrous episode. So for me, filler means more like the conversations that are being had are taking too long. Like, we could get there faster.
Completely agree.
So I think this could be...
It's almost too straightforward with the emotional work it's trying to do. Like, it's a bit...
Yes.
it's a bit of a slog. This is like some of these conversations are the things I've been talking about in Discovery, where it got in its own way, super wordy, over-explainy, over-preachy. This was a lot of spelling out the problem and then the hour of therapy to get to the solution.
Yes, it does feel like that. It does feel like we have attended a very long wedding.
It really does. And you've gone from like group to group and having a little catch up with all of the family drama that's happened.
Yeah. I think it would be very interesting if they had put all of this into like 30 minutes and then question what would be happening with the last half. Like, where would we want this to pivot to? Where would we want this to go? But that's just not the episode that we saw. I do have an idea for us using our imagination for this episode, though, but I'll get to that in my 1, 2, 3, because we're going to do our 3 things that we want to discuss and then our extra 3s. And my extra 3 is about Sam.
I might be accidentally usurping your idea with my main point.
Oh, go on.
But,
Shall we start with it?
This is a little bit unfair, perhaps, but one of the things that did tweak my brain in this episode is all of the things it mentioned that I'd rather be exploring. It throws out some excellent things, and all I could think about is wanting to be in those places. So,
oh, you mean with the kids where they're going on their vacations?
Ibiza filled with Klingons. Let's go. The holographic reconstruction spa. Everything about the warp slug. Wherever Nala was going. Jet's day. I would have stayed in Jet's shoes for the entire day. But genuinely, like,
who's Jet?
Tig Notaro.
Oh,
Jet Reno.
yes. It would have been hilarious if it was from her perspective, just like finally all the children are gone, and then you're just kind of watching her go through the mundane, but then over her shoulder is Caleb and Genesis doing all the things that they're doing.
In the background, like a Lower Decks thing, like you wonder what the B team are doing and you never really find out. Obviously, Starfleet Academy can't do that because it really does want to push some big moments forward with with Caleb and Terima and Genesis, and then Durham with Caleb. So it wants to do all of those. So it's not going to throw it away on a silly haphazard episode. But it did mention.
You mean Durham with Jaden?
What did I say?
Caleb.
Sorry, Durham with Jaden. So yeah, it's a bit random, but I did enjoy the little throwaway lines that sent my imagination onto. Like, where could we be going? Like, so do you know about Ibiza? Like, is that a thing that's made it to America?
I don't know at all of what you're talking about, but let's just so the part of the show that this is in is that all the cadets, all the students are being sent away. The academy is being shut down. And there's this moment when they're all kind of like lining up to be sent off. And Tig Notaro's character, Jet Reno, Reno is sort of like giving a bit of a roll call and saying where they're going. And then
are you sure?
Can I talk you out of that? And then they kind of just walk forward, and then they're jettisoned kind of forward into their adventure. And so that was kind of a fun part, the idea that all the kids have to be kind of sent back home. Yeah,
and I do. So the premise of the episode is that, it's All Worlds Day, spring semester has ended, and everybody is going home to do their own thing. Everyone's leaving Hogwarts for the holidays other than Harry Potter, who has to stay behind. So yeah, it's a bit of a silly point, and I do have serious things to talk about with the episode, but I do love that Star Trek can put these combinations together, and Klingons and Ibiza is, like, from an English point of view, that's really, really fascinating, because Ibiza is in the Mediterranean area, and it's basically like a clubbing island. Like, the English, for the most part, and other bits of Europe as well, have kind of taken over the island and turned it into this clubbing resort filled with music and drinks and stuff like that. Who knows what the locals think of it? Probably not very much. But thinking about Klingons partying in Ibiza it really tickled me. And I just immediately sent my head down that way, and I just wanted to spend more time there with them doing that.
Are you going to write some, like, fan fiction?
I'm not equipped. I've never been to Ibiza, but I have friends who have. Maybe
this is
they
in
can
the
help.
future. You don't know.
That's true. Maybe it's completely. Well, the fact that Ibiza is still doing Ibiza things 1,000 years from now
must be doing something right.
Fascinating. But also the throwaway warp slug. I love that. I think that's adorable. That's kind of something that you would see in Lower Decks, and I kind of wish we'd had more time with the warp slug. So
I did kind of think that was going to last longer. You know, like the whole episode was going to be them trying to get the slug back or something.
And that's my serious thought. Like, make the episode about the warp slug, but it's not about the warp slug. Whereas this is the reverse. This is make the episode about all of the emotions and the therapy, and then slip in some one-liners here and there. Don't let us know that we're being talked to about these deep emotional stuff and how the people are going to progress and evolve. You want to be tricked
into therapy.
That's the best way to do it in my experience. So yeah, but I genuinely would love to know more about the warp slug. I need to know how, what, why, when, and where. We do know about space creatures that can travel at warp, but these tiny warp jumps.
Hysterical, right? You think he's gonna like leave the ship, but he just warps across the room.
Across different rooms. Maybe they have to. Maybe they can only do short distance. I really hope that they don't run on dilithium, because they would have been a mess during the burn. Imagine all of these slugs that just exploded simultaneously. What a mess. So I'd like to know more about the mechanics of the slug. And yeah, I apologize that I'm focusing on the more whimsical, silly aspects of the episode. But my genuine thought is when you do that and focus on them, you can cleverly slip in the moral without slapping me in the face with your Keonian wedding ceremony.
Well, I mean, to rank it, the Keonian stuff was my least favorite part. If I had to kind of rank,
I think
even within this episode, what didn't connect with me the most.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so I understand why that kind of brought it down, because it was a sort of A-B plot of this one is
it's the most heavy-handed of the emotional stuff, for sure. It's the least nuanced, the most sluggish.
Okay, so where do you want to go next? Because we could go straight into talking about Darum, but I also could kind of dig more into like Genesis's plan, which kind of includes the warp slug. What do you think?
Let's jump to the sunset moon. Let's do Darum and Jaden.
Okay, so this is one of my 3 points, which is, and here's kind of like the overview of it. So suddenly, it's like a sudden wedding is sudden. Instead of Darum like leaving with the other academy students, he is kidnapped in a surprise to us wedding that involves kidnapping. So we essentially learn that he is a type of royalty, or his family is some kind of an elevated family that has been chosen to be part of royalty, and that like Darum's family disappointment, it plagues him not only because he is trying to prove himself, which we kind of have picked up in other episodes, but it's deeper because he's meant to actually rule the entire planet with this person that he genuinely loves and cares for and has known his whole entire life. And now, conveniently, the first steps of this wedding involve this kidnapping, and he's surprised because he's called back to this position of duty, and his wife-to-be is sort of checking in with him all of a sudden saying, hey, we're going to get married now. I know it was going to take some time, but it's actually going to be now. And essentially what this reveals about Darum specifically is that he hasn't really been real most of his life. He's kind of found himself in the academy. So this really cocky, boisterous, sassy, brave individual that we've been knowing isn't who she has known. And when Jaden thinks that he's actually kidnapped, he goes with Darum to kind of like save him if need be, and inadvertently becomes his best man at his own wedding. And so when Jaden gives this speech as this best man, his Darum's wife realizes that she doesn't know him at all, and kind of calls him out on it immediately and says, hey, you're not being real with me. We're starting off this relationship as a lie. You should have been straight with me. If you're happy doing something else, let's annul and I'll just rule this shit on my own. And yeah, sure, you're going to be even more of a disappointment to your parents, but that's not my problem anymore.
Not my problem, and looks like you can't get much lower anyway.
Yeah, and so it kind of goes like then Darum ends up, going back to the academy. But this sort of like pop into his world is a dominant part of this episode, because it's really trying to dig into all these various emotional, deep aspects of a character that we kind of love to hate. And so, I don't know, it kind of works for me a little bit, and it was a totally out of left field in another, because it's not every day that you're suddenly at your wedding. It's not like hey, I've got to go home and there's this fun little kidnapping thing going on. It's like the most serious thing that it could be.
Yeah, and it's a trope. Like, it said something at a wedding to like immediately jack the tension up 1,000,000,000%, like immediately.
If I have to point out something that kind of works for me, it's this idea that Darum's way of loving and showing that he loves is to put himself last and do something he doesn't want to do for duty. And this episode calls that out as bullshit and says, if you're not really being yourself, I don't really want that. I want a version of you that doesn't exist anymore, essentially. And it's a very brave thing to do, not only to call, because maybe the show is like, oh, we're going to call off the wedding, and you kind of expect it to be called off. But it actually completely goes through, and they are married, and now they have to get an annulment. And it's a bit whiplashy. It's like every scene kind of has a little a whiplash feel to it. You've got Jaden upset with Darum, and Darum trying to kind of tread water and rise up to be this person he's supposed to be versus the person he wants to. He's very conflicted. He's just got a lot of conflict. And I think the reason it doesn't work for me is because I don't know. I think all of this could have been accomplished in a different way where we're not having to see the characters like this. I don't know.
It's not fun. That's my bottom line.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Most of this episode, or a lot of it, forgets to have fun. Like, there is some like good writing and there is like good themes to dig into, but it really forgets to do something fun with it. It kind of other than being set on a moon, it kind of forgets to be a sci-fi show completely. It's dealing with obligation. It's dealing with like finding yourself, and some of the themes are really like interesting, like that obligation thing in the self-sacrifice. Is it really self-sacrifice when you're kind of just taking the path of least resistance? Like, it's a little bit cowardly of him to be like, yep, I will serve and I will be the dutiful husband and I will carry on because that is expected. It's way braver to say, actually, can we talk this out? What I actually want to do. And maybe you even still come to the same conclusion that you're going to stay on the planet and be king for a while and then abdicate or whatever. But he is kind of taking the choice away from himself and away from his best friend wife, instead of like really digging into what he actually wants to do with his life. Like, nobody wants to be with, most sane people don't want to be with a partner that isn't fully committed and doesn't want to be there.
It's so sad.
It's
so
super sad.
Heavy.
Super sad. Yeah.
It's not something, like you said, the fun of it can't be. There's no part of this wedding that feels fun. It feels like when you go to someone's wedding and you know they're not happy together, but they're just doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And it's such a sacred thing, to like unite, but not everybody does it for love. Some people do it for
security, convenience,
political
tradition.
There's all kinds of reasons that people get married.
There's an argument that arranged marriages are actually more successful because you just
there's an agreement
together, and there's an agreement.
There's an agreement.
You take the passion out of it. Maybe you find passion along the way, but it's a more practical pairing.
And it's wild. So this episode just like forces you to have the most important questions of Darum's life in like an afternoon. It's crazy. And it's because of the convenience of this kidnapping where quite suddenly he's living one life and now he is forced to live another. He has no chance to really process. And so it feels like he is wronged. And I think we're supposed to be happy that he has, come to the conclusion himself, but he hasn't. The decision was made for him. She then turns around and makes the decision for him. So where he is making the decision for her, she does the same fucking thing to him. It's really upsetting to me because what I feel would be a healthier option is for them to just take a minute and have a real conversation, because maybe he could have been a great king. Maybe he could say, you're right, I should have said something to you, but you have to trust that I made this decision because this is where I'm landing. This is where I want to be. I do love you. And yes, I'm going to think about what happened at the academy. And yes, I was given an opportunity to do these wild things, but aren't you glad that I am the person that is that way? Do you want me to just stay the person that I always have been? And isn't that bullshit that she has decided that, hey,
100%.
because you're suddenly more dynamic than you were before, and you didn't tell it to me in the first 12 seconds of our kidnapped reunion that I am now rejecting you, and not only rejecting you, but I am forcing you to be even more hated by your parents and your community. It is a really uncomfortable thing that we have been put inside of. And it's like watching somebody, Darum can't win. There's no winning in this episode.
No, that's really not.
And what kind of upsets me the most about it is maybe the episode is trying to make us okay with it. Like, hey, we get Darum full time now. Aren't you guys happy?
I don't know what it's trying to do. That's one of my other problems. I don't know what it's trying to do with this other than deal with expectations and obligation, I guess. It's very much, because we spend so much time kind of in it, and now we know more and more about these various dynamics. It's just not something that I'm really excited to have happen. I feel icky having watched it because it's just so dirty. All of it's dirty. Did Darum mess up by not saying anything? I don't know. I don't know his character well enough. I know him as this brazen sort of guy. And what I'm watching him do is sacrifice himself and what he wants with the academy for his community. And I'm thinking, like, that sounds pretty fucking great. Go get it, guy. You know, you're going to be a great leader because you can do brave things and da-da-da-da-da. Like, okay, goodbye, Darum. Like, I genuinely thought that once I realized that the wedding was real, yeah,
she
maybe
was
this
going
is goodbye,
to,
Darum.
It was either goodbye, Darum, or she was going to hear Jaden's speech and then think, you know what? Let's stay married, but why don't you go back and learn
academy.
more?
Yeah.
And then when you're ready, come in. But instead, she just like completely axes him. I don't know. It really upsets me because I think it could have been done differently.
So many
and
ways,
I wonder why they chose to do it that way. I guess it's just the permanence of it. He needed to have the ultimate rejection to fully acclimate.
It does
into this
free
character.
him. It frees him of some obligation. I mean, it frees him of an obligation we didn't know he had.
Exactly.
So there's no real release from us there.
Yeah, it's asking us to realize who he is, accept who he is, and then be rejected right along with him, all kind of in one. And
On the rejection side of things, he could have fought. He could have said to her, no, shut up, listen to me. I do want to do this.
But he didn't.
He did accept it very easily.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of did. I sensed a little bit of she pushed really hard to see if he would push back. And I did see her deflate when he was like, I'm so sorry. Like he just agreed with it. So that could be an element of it. But
yeah, you're right. That is a really important point, is that he gave up
as soon as she kicked him out.
As soon as there was that pushback. The episode also, I think, is pressing the idea that Jaden and Darum might have a connection of some kind, like a bro
a little
connection.
Bit of a confusion. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's okay. I don't mind that. But we get to see them kind of together in a coupling in this way of this best man, and Jaden has to give a speech, and he gives a really, really wonderful speech that is the best that he can do in the moment. Is it genuine? Partially, but the episode sort of ends back in that comfortable jabbing relationship where we happily have our asshole Darum back. So I don't know if this works for me on a grand level. I do like that Jaden had already told Kyle, his buddy Kyle, about it, or his love interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his boyfriend.
Yeah, I do like that because it means that they're not asking us to just pretend it didn't happen. Because it very much feels like one of those things where they get back from this trip and they're like, we will never speak of this again.
Nobody needs to know I got married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Jaden speech is interesting because he's very honest about
Darum.
Darum, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it Darum?
It is Darum, yeah. In your opinion, do you think Jaden was deliberately phrasing that to break them up?
No.
It's too subtle, isn't it?
No, because there's not a way that Jaden could understand the dynamic of their relationship, their
Not
past,
fully,
their history. No. Like it was just him saying, I have seen all of these things of you and you're going to make a great leader. And then the wife getting pissed off that she didn't know those things about him.
Well, I think the line that tweaked her was the one thing I know about Darum is that he will take a step back and put his desires and what he wants to the very, very bottom and put everybody else first, and he'll put duty first.
Right.
And that's the thing that tweaks her into, you don't want to be here, you're just putting it first.
He could have known
yeah.
that would piss her off. That
No,
might
I
be
agree,
something
I
that she
agree.
appreciates, because that's
Yeah.
what leadership, in a lot of ways, when you're a king or you're somebody who has to lead, you do have to do that.
Yeah.
And so that would actually be, in my opinion, a really great asset if you have that ability to go, you know what? I would rather be doing X, Y, and Z right now, but where I'm needed is to get brushed up on this politic situation. And, I don't know. It feels to me like they lost a great leader. He probably would have done a really great job because he seemed to genuinely love her. And he seems to genuinely wanted to prove himself and wanted to become this thing. And yeah, is it maybe not what he wants to do? I get, obviously not. Obviously he doesn't want to have that kind of responsibility. And because he wasn't honest about that at some point in the chain, he has hurt people. So
yeah, that makes me dislike it even more, the fact that it wasn't deliberate. And that was my instinct, is that it couldn't really be deliberate, but it makes it super contrived that she really latches onto that. With no kind of referral to their history either, of this is what you always do when we grew up together. This follows a pattern. She really does seem to be basing it on Jaden's
100%.
speech. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the wedding overall didn't work for me. If you would like to see this theme kind of played out, then you should watch the TNG episode Haven, where Deanna is subjected to an arranged marriage, the sudden arrival of the person she is betrothed to wed. And it has a really interesting sci-fi stint to it, where the man that she is going to get married to, or is promised to, thinks he knows exactly what Deanna is going to look like, because he has been receiving psychic messages from this woman. And so when he turns up and she's not that woman, he's like, oh, then who's this woman that's been sending me psychic messages? And that deals with a lot of Betazoid obligation, Deanna's obligation to her rituals, but then her career on Starfleet. But then it has a real sci-fi mystery underneath of well, what's the other woman? What signal is this guy picking up? So anyway, that's just for me a really cool example of how you do this idea. And they did it in 1988. And it was a story about obligation and bucking against your parents and doing what you want to do instead of what is expected of you, even culturally. And it has a great sci-fi mystery at the core, and it's one that, it may not be everybody's favorite episode, but it's one of those filler episodes that I think is really fun and delivers on some mystery and some themes all at once.
Before we move on to your next thing that you want to get to, I will say something that I did enjoy about these scenes was the peppering of facts about the Kionian sort of world. It was very underwater, so there's different kinds of clothing that they're wearing. They very expertly folded into their dialogue the little hints and things about this world that is kind of a new place to explore. It's a little bit off-putting, as I mentioned, because we don't get to see any of it because they're on a moon that doesn't have any water. It's been kind of dried up, and it's a ceremonial place now for people to be.
That would have sucked if Jaden turned up underwater and drowned.
I mean, that was a possibility,
hey kids,
right?
Don't jump into portals.
It's crazy. But it was really neat. The costuming was really interesting. The planet, like I mentioned before, is very Vulcan, kind of like a red, dusty moon vibe, kind of like
really,
the desert sort of vibe.
Really, really cool. I liked it. The sunset moon in the Kionian realm was very cool.
So the set was really interesting to me. It was a bit depressing also because there was barely anybody there for the wedding, despite how important it seemed.
Yeah,
but I guess because
point.
it's like a kidnapping wedding, it doesn't really matter too much because there's not a lot of witnesses to it, and everybody is going to be sworn to secrecy that it never happened, etc., etc. But I would say if there's ever a time that there needs to be some research into the Kionians, this would be kind of like a must watch because it's giving a little bit more about their life and their way. And it doesn't avoid talking about it, the bulk of their conversation is about duty and all that stuff, but there is more detail about him as a species. Okay, what's your second point?
So this one's a little bit abstract as well. It kind of focuses on Nala a little bit, which might be odd because she's not in the episode very much. But something that I wanted to dig into that the episode mentions is the search for Caleb's mother. And do you think, like, this raised a point I didn't even think about last week. Caleb is mad at her because she had Braca right in front of her, and didn't ask him about Caleb's mother, about, like, where is she? We know that you helped her escape. Not a single line was said to him. Like, maybe he would have lied, but she didn't even try to approach the subject, and Caleb is rightfully pissed off about that. The fact that the writers have included that and addressed that makes me think Nala deliberately didn't ask, and Nala isn't trying to find his mother. Like, I just have this suspicion that she's actually not trying at all, or she already knows and isn't telling him and has the confidence to not be looking because she already knows and can give him that information when she's ready to. Like, she's already dead. I just have been trying to find the right way to tell you, but it just like kind of tweaked me a little bit that they chose to bring that up.
It's interesting because my second point is also about a character to love that might be doing something nefarious or is absolutely doing something nefarious. So that's an interesting kind of like our little sandwich of the episode today. No, I don't think it's strange at all. I really like how they addressed it because she said specifically never hand personal information to a sociopath, and I happen to agree with her on that. While you're standing in front of somebody like that, there is absolutely no reason to hand over information or trust anything that they have to say, because let's say that she did say, hey, where is Caleb's mom?
That's not handing over information, though.
Well, let's just say that she starts off with that question, right? She's just like, hey, where's Caleb's mom? And he says anything. You don't believe it. There is no way you believe anything that he has to say.
No, but you might be able to glean something from the lie.
No, but just in giving that information is handing him what you're interested in, which I think she's right to hold it to her chest.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting take. I like that.
There is something very interesting about like last episode, and I've been thinking about it off and on over the last few days. The way that she had to, in that scene, hold her composure and not interact with this character.
Yeah, I really love it.
It was so deliberate. You could almost see her brimming with this desire to engage, but she knows historically, experientially, whatever, that there isn't a reason to talk to some people. She was forced to, but I love that because we can all learn this lesson. There are just some people that you want to go in and defend yourself. You want to go in and explain in the hopes that this person who thinks badly of you or whatever will see the true you. And you're going to give them your energy. You're going to give them your explanations. You're going to give them part of yourself. You're going to give them your sacred time. Mm-hmm. That's all we have is time.
And it's for you, not them.
And you're hoping that there's a chance that that person is going to look at you and do the whole Avatar Na'vi thing and say, I see you. And you're going to feel that feeling of, okay, finally, I can do the next thing. I can either amend our relationship and we can move on and we can like start to build a bridge together, or finally I can walk away from this person. And yes, I'm speaking from personal trauma. And I'll give a little bit of a personal example. I stayed in an abusive relationship for close to 3 years when I was very young. I was just out of high school. It was one of the first relationships that I had. And this guy was a class act, manipulative asshole. And he would turn every single thing into my fault. And it took me a while to, catch on because I was still developing my brain. It turns out your brain doesn't actually develop for quite some time. So, I'm going to blame some of this and just, I was young and didn't know better. But my core reason for staying towards the end was I just wanted him to know that his version of me wasn't me. I wanted him to see me.
That's interesting.
And then I realized one day that that's what he wanted. He just wanted my attention. No matter if it was negative or whatever, he didn't care what I had to say. He just loved that we were playing this game back and forth and he was keeping me on the line. And I realized the only power I had was to actually just stop talking to him altogether and literally never speak to him again and let it go. And he was going to carry on this story that I was this bad person and tell people about it. And he did. He told people horrible things about me that were absolutely not true. And it crushed me because I'm like, that's not me. And now I felt like I had to chase all those storylines down and prove myself. It was awful. But guess what? It's better to just walk away and not engage with that person. And so when she said that line about it never hand information, personal information, I'm just saying information to a sociopath, I was like, that's so right. That is so right.
I hear you, sister.
There's nothing there. It's just the exchange. You're getting something out of it. What I was getting out of it was, for me in my own personal story, was this like fight for like the truth of who I am. And that was important to me until I realized that I would be doing that forever. This could literally be the rest of my life, is trying to explain myself, and what a horrible way to live. And I had to let it go. And I carried that lesson with me throughout every relationship. And there's always just this moment with certain people, and I can kind of feel it like, oh, anything past this can't matter to me, because your version of who I am and my version of who I am, I can see you're already doing your own thing with it. And I think I've given you all the truth that you need, and I'm good. Like I don't need to go any further. And
your conscience is clear.
And I can see Captain Kitty doing kind of the same thing.
That's interesting. That's a really, really cool read. I would love that to be it, and I hope it is.
Yeah, I do too.
I hope it's not that she's being backhanded and sneaky. I hope it is that I'm being the bigger person, and whatever he has, I don't need it.
Yeah, I hope so too. I guess we'll eventually find out. But guess what we know about my point?
Go on.
We know that Genesis is a manipulative, insane person.
She's not insane.
Oh my God.
You remember what you just said about having an underdeveloped brain?
That's her.
She has an underdeveloped brain.
But
that's what it is.
Also, no. Okay, let's talk about this. Genesis's plan. She hacks Caleb's emotional defenses and uses him to get to the bridge so she can swipe a key and get to her files and delete something that she doesn't want to be seen. Her entire time with him is to distract him, gain an emotional advantage over him so that he will do what she says. And when they're on the bridge eventually, she tactically turns on systems to distract him, including the fucking warp core.
It's genius. She's genius.
So there's this idea that Genesis is like this great leader. But what I just saw in this episode
is a great dictator.
Yes.
Not even that. It's a great manipulator. Like,
she is Caleb level of like borderline bad guy.
You mean Braca level?
No, Caleb.
You think Caleb's the bad guy?
Caleb could be borderline bad guy.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I think it's great. Like the bullshit is her motivation. I do not understand that for a single minute.
She doesn't want to be found out that she...
Found out for what? This is the most disappointing bit of the episode for me, is what was in her references? They said something slightly disparaging, and that's what she rewrote.
But then they are going to find out what she rewrote it to be, and then those relationships are compromised through her admiral.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, why?
She lives in fear.
The fact that she rewrote them in the first place feels insane. I was expecting, and maybe this is my fault, some big reveal that her dad isn't an admiral, or the references were completely made up because she's got a criminal record, or she's a hybrid of some sort that she's hiding. Like, in my head, and
she's
this
a corporate
could
spy.
just be, that she's part Romlaxian something. Like, she's just like, wait, she's from the fucking future. She's from 1949. Like, there is just something in these logs or in these references that's going to outdo her. But it's basically... One of them said sometimes she isn't confident about where she is. And it is so much build up. And maybe it's the point that it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just be a little thing that you're trying to change. But I was expecting something more kind of, I don't want to say juicy, but something more fundamental.
I don't really care about that anymore.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't.
Because once you get to the end, and you replay the entire episode in your mind, and this like connection between Genesis and Caleb, the way that they're, bantering back and forth and everything, and you watch it for what it is, she is fucking crazy.
Oh, it's insane. No, I think she likes Caleb though. I think she genuinely likes it.
Of course. And I'm really glad that she likes Caleb, but she still wants him to connect to his girlfriend. Like, that's a really great,
that's really
realistic,
healthy.
Healthy approach. She's not trying to manipulate him to love her, which if you grew up in the 90s, you know that those were the kind of storylines that we would see on TV all the time. Is
mean
that
girls.
You'd be a mean girl or you try to seduce somebody. That's usually what we would see when I was growing up. So I'm very happy to see some emotional maturity. But realistically, she has sabotaged Caleb.
Yeah, he should be way more mad than he is, I think.
I think because he doesn't really care, it works out.
Yeah,
because
he's just used to
he doesn't care.
rules.
He's there to be there and on his own journey, whatever. But she goes really far. One of the first episodes, and it may even have been the first episode, when Caleb, no, it wasn't the first, it was the second, I think. When Caleb is discovered hacking a system and she finds him. And she's super sassy with him. And she's saying...
He's trying to send a message to his mum. Yeah. That's what it is.
But then because of that, it attracts... Is that right? Because of that, it attracts the...
Yeah, it attracts the...
was it the first episode
Venari Ral. Yeah. No, it's...
Anyway, whatever it was.
Yeah.
There's a moment and we get to see this kind of...
No, it's episode 2.
Chess level thinker that Genesis is.
Yeah.
She knows she's got Caleb because she has something on him. And then she's super sassy and she's like, you can feed me like a little baby bird. And it's just funny. And I really, let me be clear, I really like this character.
Yes, me too.
But she just went into an area where she's gone from straight A student, great leader, academic, to willing to manipulate people to cover her ass at the expense of their entire time at the academy and her own career. And yeah, maybe that's because she's young and stupid. Maybe it's just an immature thing. Maybe it's just the short-sightedness of not having a developed brain. That could be it. But it lasts long enough. It goes on for long enough. And there's all these opportunities for just kind of like moving outside of it. She's scary.
She's super scary.
She is scary.
It's kind of why I love her.
And yes, because you kind of need to have that wild card on the ship to sort of make it make sense when they decide to do something harebrained and nutty. And so we have Darum and we have Genesis, and between the two of them, they're all fucked.
Chaos. Yeah.
Anyway, I just, do you think that she's still likable after this level of manipulation?
Yeah, I do, honestly. It's definitely fucked up. Like,
it's crazy.
Risking Caleb is, if I'm being generous, she knows that Caleb is a bit of a rogue and this won't faze him. And she also knows that Admiral Akay is not going to be kicking him out. Like, she may be super duper calculated in the fact that she knows that even if they get caught, realistically, they're not getting kicked out of the academy. But if the people whose references she fudged find out, then that
it's
really
big time.
Is big time.
And that's her
that
fear.
Really does suck.
So now you kind of understand her motivation.
Yeah, I understand it. I do understand her motivation. I do. That was too harsh, but the
punch of it, I agree. It was kind of like a bit lackluster. It's the punch that I'm
disappointed with. Yeah. Well, now that I'm past what I was expecting it to be.
Yeah. I can understand her fear and I can understand her drive. And I believe her emotions too. And I think that maybe this is a growth moment for her. And she just so quickly sat down in that captain's chair. She is a really fun character. I really enjoyed how she is. But she's
super
just
competent as well.
She's so good. She scares me because there are times when the way that someone will sort of telegraph the mental, like where the character is mentally, will kind of show you when they're being manipulative and maybe dark. And she doesn't have that. She's just enjoying.
Yeah.
She's enjoying being
focused.
The smartest one in the room.
Yeah.
And the only time she really seems to kind of telegraph and give things away is when she's processing that somebody is outside of her a little bit. So, for example, Caleb isn't interested in her in a relationship. And so he's outside of her reach a bit, right? Like, yes, they have a connection and they're enjoying each other, but he's interested in Tarima. And Tarima is now removed from the show because she's on Beta Z recovering from her coma and has been gone for a month. So we're kind of like picking up further down the line. And after watching her this episode, I wouldn't be surprised if being in a relationship is another tool she would use to her advantage. I don't know. I don't know how to, she's so manipulative. This is just not somebody that I know how to enjoy. Although I shouldn't say enjoy. I should say, like, I don't know how I would rank up with her. Like, let's say it's me and Genesis in a room together. knowing that she just wants to use me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's a hard character for me to root for maybe.
Yeah.
But she makes it fun. She hugs Sam when Sam comes back. She seems to have some genuine beats.
I think she is good. I think she just is.
Today was really fucked up. Like that was fucked.
She's using her hyper-intelligence to get to her goal, and she kind of treads on people to get there. But also, she barely knows these people. Like if we're like weighing up the pros and cons, she's known Caleb for like 3 months, 6 months at the most. So it's kind of like blowing up my entire life versus maneuvering this guy. Most people can't do that. You're right. Like most people, even under those circumstances, don't have the facilities to manipulate that masterfully. So that is
manipulation
scary.
To the nth degree. You have to imagine the moment that she somehow makes her way back, goes into the logs, deletes that she ever left the academy, thinks she's going to be there by herself. And the moment, just imagine this moment. We don't see this on screen, but this is exactly what happened. I can promise you. She sees Caleb sunbathing and she smiles the most manipulative smile because she knows
maniacal laugh.
That she wasn't quite sure how she was going to get on the bridge. And now she knows that's him. And just immediately she starts planning and plotting. This is the dungeon master that you want to have for your D&D campaign.
Oh, definitely. Because what's great about her is that she knows her own limits. She's like, I can't hack my way onto the bridge. He can.
But she also, and she knows that Caleb is so used to being manipulated that she has to gain him. So she does all these games with him where she's like, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And just wears him down until they get to the moment. And he's like, I knew there was something up this whole time. Mm-hmm. But she got him and she got him good. And her plan,
she really did.
It almost worked. It really did almost work. And I don't know why she thought that she could activate the warp drive and nobody would fucking notice, but it almost worked.
I don't think she fully activated it. The only reason Jet noticed is because she accidentally onto the bridge.
I don't believe that for a second.
You think?
Oh my God. Can you imagine that a school is shut down and all of a sudden you're turning on all these different parts of
there should be alarms when people are on the bridge, for sure.
100%. So she went there to be...
Because she knew they were on the bridge.
That they were there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
What's your second? Or your third?
Third. My third really was actually about Genesis, but it was way more... I love her so much. I'm really enjoying her. I'm really enjoying Bella Shepherd's portrayal of the character as well. Just, she has this like charisma that I'm really, really enjoying. I actually really enjoyed her and Caleb having the kind of moments because it could almost dip into this like 90210 thing of like drama and confused, lusting. But it really it almost seems like just an acknowledgement that there's an attraction there. So at the end when Jaden, oh Jesus, I'm calling him Jaden now.
Yeah.
At the end when Caleb is like, well, there was one moment I wasn't thinking about her. And there's like a little nod and they both know that the moment is because they were having such a good time together. Like they have a moment when they freeze the slug thing and they kind of look at each other and they have a moment. There's that acknowledgement of an attraction and we could explore this if I wasn't currently fixated on Terima and exploring that. And I just liked that platonic dipping into platonic adjacent relationship that they have, like the knowing that it could work perhaps, or it would be something they'd enjoy pursuing. So I like that without having to dip into the drama of relationships and stuff.
Yes. And it's so nice because it's so often and so frequent that it's just all made about the will they, won't they's and the tension.
But we've covered like obviously her plan, what she's doing, what she's pursuing. I like it's the most fun of the episode for me when they're playing their games, they're chasing the slug. Like that kind of whimsy I did really enjoy. It gets bogged down by Caleb's umming and ahhing about Terima and why he hasn't sent her a message. And of course it's because he feels she pressed too deep and so that's preventing him from kind of wanting to reach out and wanting to face that until he's come to terms with it. So that dragged it down a bit for me, but it's just the Genesis stuff was my favorite bit of the episode.
That's interesting. My third point is about Caleb's development.
Yeah,
in
let's
this
do
episode.
it. Yeah,
and I think I liked it actually because I believe, I don't know this because I'm not in the writer's room, but I believe they're really trying to stick to this idea that Caleb has this very complex, traumatic history, and they're not fast tracking him to like healing. Now, granted, in the grand scheme of things, we're seeing episode to episode, but they're doing time jumps. They're seeing there's a good amount of time of him spent with these people.
Yeah.
This is the spring semester as of this episode, and they've spent a lot of time together. So when they say things like, you're bad at math, or you're struggling over here, or whatever, there's time that we're missing that we didn't see, but it's believable. And one of the aspects of Caleb is his inability to open up. And by the end of this episode, when he finally does send a message to Terima, he says that he's realizing that part of the reason that she was able to access him is because he did want to open up to somebody. And I think that's a really great thing to do. Now, listen, we all know why this is happening from a writer's perspective. The moment that he says he doesn't want to run anymore is the moment that mommy's coming back. We know this. This is how it works. They let their characters have a big, revelation and kind of settle in and feel like, oh, this is where I belong. And then they're going to bring in, the trauma, the emotional trauma again. But I think it's a believable series of episodes. Watching Caleb's trajectory, watching how he's been closed off, he's been alone. He even wants to be closed off and alone in this episode. And it's only because Genesis is so manipulative and convincing that he even goes along with her and kind of finds himself having some fun while being manipulated to his knowledge or not to his knowledge. And so, we get to see them doing some fun things like the warp slug, or like the is it toxic or not toxic game.
Which is an insane game, by the way.
It is, until you think about how the little
the
little
hypo spray.
The hypo spray is right there, and it's kind of like, it's going to burn for a second, but you're going to be fine. If you had a hypo spray that could solve anything, you'd stick your hand in stuff because
no, I wouldn't. It hurts like shit. Like, I've got burn cream. That's not a perfect example, but I'm still not going to put hot sauce in my eyes because I have saline next to me.
But this is what I'm saying. Caleb and Genesis together are fucking crazy.
Yes.
Because she is so manipulative, as we know, and Caleb is so
detached.
He's so good at surviving through his detachment. So he adapts very quickly, and he's extremely intelligent, and he has all of these capabilities that we know are there and we've seen in these episodes. So the two of them together with nothing to lose is a really interesting pairing.
Yeah.
But he's got to come to some realization. And in each episode, I feel like it kind of tries to press on it, and he's pressed back. No, I don't need you guys. No, I don't want this. But in this episode, it presses in that he does want to open up somehow. And he did feel a deep connection somehow because she was a safe person. Terima was a safe person. And will that then begin to ooze out into his other relationships? And we've seen him have great moments with just about everybody on screen, like a genuine moment. And in this episode, although I did feel the dragging nature many times because it is dialogue heavy and emotional,
and not
progressive
super
heavy.
Engaging dialogue either.
No, not too much. But I thought that the acting was really good. Like,
yes,
when they're in the lift at the very, very end, Genesis and Caleb together, and they're cleaning, and he's listening to her, and he's just kind of putting his head forward on this broom. I'm not believing it. I am believing his engagement. And when he's listening to somebody, he's really there. And I remember the first couple episodes going, can this guy carry this character? And in this episode, I think he carried the character. Was I as interested in the emotional kind of depth of it and this back and forth between, their shenanigans on the in the school versus the shenanigans that were happening with the wedding? No, I was not as engaged. But when I just look at it for what it is, I think they did a really great job back and forth. I believe that they were kind of sparring with each other in these kind of fun ways. I believe their friendship. And I think that he's realizing that he likes to be alone, but he doesn't want to let people in. It's always been a challenge, but maybe apologizing and maybe mending things and maybe building a bridge is a really important kind of next step. And I don't know. I thought they did a pretty good job for what they're trying to do in this episode, which is to kind of really stitch these people together. I believe whatever comes next in the show, they are stitched together.
Yeah, it definitely serves that function of bonding these pairs together really, really well. It definitely does that.
No, it just kind of worked for me, which is nice to say about Caleb because I am enjoying looking at him half naked. I mean, I am enjoying his development, his character development.
Wouldn't. He's got pecs for days, just like that man is.
He's a beautiful man.
All about arm day. For the record, I do like that last realization he has, which is, hey, maybe I showed you that thing because I wanted to show you that thing. Like, that was so easily accessible because I wanted to let you in. I like that. Just the journey to get there did very little for me, but I get what you're saying.
No, yeah. I think the journey to get there is hard because when you make a character that is so stubborn, you have to choose to either pretend he's not stubborn and like just fast track him to be able to get to that emotional breakthrough point, that maturing, or we have to suffer through watching him actually get there as a stubborn character. And he did. He stubbornly got there. You
got to put the screws on. You got to increase the pressure somehow, which is why the Academy should have been invaded Starship Mine style while everyone knew it was empty. Yes, that means invading Earth, but maybe you have portals of some sort that you stole from the Kionians. Maybe you hacked into their portal and you're trying to take and steal the Athena, and then Genesis and Caleb have to work together to prevent the intruders while also getting her records from the bridge, as she has an ulterior motive along the same time.
Here we are rewriting our notes.
But I think you can teach all of that by having a more exciting episode, and maybe this is what you get for blowing 7 episodes worth of budget in last week's episode. I have a question for you before we move on to our sentences, Ambassador, if that's all right.
Yeah, I have more than sentences today. We're always breaking rules. Yeah, we're breaking rules every single episode.
I insist this time that we stick to sentences. Darren explodes on Jaden and says a horrible thing about, I'm not going to abandon my people like you abandoned the Klingons. And then he storms off. No reconciliation there. How do you feel about that explosion?
Is this one of your sentences?
This is one of my questions to you before the sentences, Ambassador.
We have the question section now?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got something to say.
Okay.
I want the truth.
I think he's an asshole.
No, it felt so artificial to me. That explosion felt so written and just out of pocket and unnecessarily shitty, just to get Jaden to storm off so that he could storm back in gallantly and give the speech anyway. I don't know. I didn't buy
it was definitely forced, but also every time Darren shows his soft side, he pretty quickly also shows this very abrasive keep a distance side, and which is shown in Kyle at the very end when he shows up with the sunburn. You know, Kyle said, "Hey, I'm really sorry about what happened." He's just like, "What happened to your fucking face?"
Of course,
you know.
Yeah.
So he's just, I don't know. I believe he would say something like that to push somebody away because some people don't have the emotional maturity to say, I'm not ready to talk about that right now. And instead they say something to hurt you so that you go away.
Yeah,
and I think he is that character.
He said something fairly suicidal by talking to a Klingon like that. I was like, is this a good day for you to die?
Yeah, Jaden's a wonderful, kind of more passive, except for that he ran in with a rock to kill someone. So that was confusing.
I love that. The only thing I have to say is today is a good day to die. All right, Ambassador, give us some of your little sentences about the episode.
Okay, before we do that, I have a question too.
Go on.
So towards the beginning, when Jaden goes to the portal and he's like, I thought Kionian was wet, and like, well, this is the matrimonial moon or whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't ocean, but it's dried up, and then it's like we're able to transport here more like it's not really a transport; it's an artificial sling something wormhole.
Yeah, it was an artificial
sing open
sinkhole wormhole. Yeah.
What?
Fuck knows. I had the Force Singularity last week. I don't have this one. This one I think they fucking made up.
This is a new thing.
I immediately thought of the Iconians, which is interesting because you have Iconians and Keonians or Kionians. The Iconians would use this transporter technology that was an archway that you would walk through, and it could take you basically across the galaxy and potentially into different galaxies. And they were an ancient race that would dominate people just by poof appearing on their planet out of nowhere. And there's an episode in TNG all about it. So I wonder if there's a phrase in that episode I've missed or I can't remember that he's referring to.
Yeah,
and maybe there's a
wonder.
relation between the Keonians and the Iconians. Perhaps.
It felt important when he said it. Like, it's more like a wormhole.
That sounds like, why wouldn't you put something specific in there from an episode of Voyager, from an episode of Deep Space Nine? And maybe it is. It very well could be. It's just not one that's immediately in my in my memory banks, like a forced singularity is apparently.
Amazing.
The lesson there is to make your episode about time travel, because there's a good chance Ian will watch it 50 times.
Well, I have 3 honorable mention situations. I've got 2 that are just like quick points, fun little like scenes that I think were really interesting. We've kind of covered one of them pretty well. And then I also have another that's definitely not just a sentence. It's definitely not an honorable mention. It's a mental gymnastics challenge for you and I.
I've got 6 things I want to mention.
Jesus, Lord God. Ian.
Some of them are super quick. Super duper quick. I'll go first. The Sato Atrium was really cool. The Mez, I think that's where they were transporting from. Named after Hoshi Sato, I assume, who was a character in Enterprise. And I really like that. Because Sato was a great character, underused. And I would love to see the actor come back. Your turn.
We already talked about it a lot, but the warp slug was great. I just needed to mention that again.
The warp slug is great.
Yours?
I want...
wait, no. The warp slug is great. Did they kill it? Or did they just freeze
froze it.
Would freezing it kill it?
No.
No?
No, they didn't kill it. It's alive.
It's alive.
It is living. It must survive.
It must survive.
I wish it was Murph.
If they don't, in a future episode, have that thing just like slowly gliding off of the wall and fall down.
It should have been the running joke. The slug just keeps warping in and at some point saves the day. Like,
I love it.
Warps onto a control panel and just saves the day.
Like Murph, yeah.
Yeah, like we need something that moves. In episode 10, it would be no being on the ship can move that fast. The slug! And they have to use the warp slug.
So perfect.
It'd be amazing to send a message or something.
What are your next 12?
I want Genesis's boots. We got a good look at her boots. You may have been looking at Caleb on the sunbed when she put her foot up to like kind of rock it. Mm-hmm. And I saw her boots. They looked fucking amazing. I want to bet they're 3D printed and I'm going to 3D print them myself. I need them.
My next one is I love the stubbed toe back and forth. This idea. So there's this idea that Jet is just walking around thinking she's totally alone, and on speakerphone is her wife.
Yeah, literally on speakerphone.
And she has just rammed her toe, and she's got to go over and go to the lab and take care of it. And her wife is just like giving her the business and like, you can't die and all this stuff. And then she takes off of her shoe and she's got this massively swollen toe. And of course it kind of pairs with the idea of being dripped on by the slug, but it's just a little slice of life moment that really brings the show to life for me. Where
I love it.
It could have just been boring but there's this kind of funny back and forth between 2 married people, and I just really like that scene.
It can be really hard to have like a stand-up comedian do stand-up comedian bits in a TV show. But Tig's like Duluth bit got me. Whenever she talks, I believe that it is Jet being Jet as much as it is Tig being Tig. Like, she works for me all day long. I love her so much. This is a sincere moment. I love that Jaden gets to do the breathe moment with Darren. That was just really cool. Yeah. I really, he's freaking out about his wedding suit getting messed up. And he does like the breathe thing. I was like, oh.
Just real briefly.
Love it.
And then Jaden kind of like removes his hands from his body.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just really liked that.
You have to keep going because my next thing is our challenge.
Oh, okay. I love the new pads. So the pad that he's talking into.
Very involved.
The props in this show are the first time in a long time I felt like this is the next generation of props. Like the hypo spray. I have a really clear image of the hypo spray and the white thing and how it works. And it's consistent. Like our holographic doctor uses it as well. The pads look like an evolved version of the pads. There's just like when you show me TNG props, I know exactly that it's from TNG Voyager. I know it's from that era of Star Trek. It's from the 2360s to 80s. And I feel like I'm getting that from the props in this show in a way that I didn't from Discovery and haven't so much in Strange New Worlds either, which is interesting because that should just be the props from TOS. But I don't have exactly the same character, and I am getting some character from the props in this show. It's important to me today.
It's great. I love the props in this show. I love the costuming in this show. Yeah, it's really fun.
My very final point was the running joke of the Talaxian fur fly. Almost every episode has had the computerized Dean making an announcement about somebody's Talaxian fur fly getting into trouble. If that doesn't spin back around to this fur fly actually causing problems
along
with the
with
warp
the slug,
yes, what are we even doing? So yeah, it's a fun running joke that's just may get a payoff at some point.
Okay, and finally we get to my challenge round. So today I want to talk a little bit about the lack of Sam. In this episode, Sam is entirely removed from the bulk of the episode. We see her at the beginning when she's off to the spa where she needs to get her glitch fixed, and then we see her at the end returning, and she looks fantastic, by the way. I love her hair so much.
So
it's
adorable.
Amazing. But I was thinking about it from a perspective of the development of this episode and what this episode is doing. This episode is really doing a slow burn, interpersonal character development relationship. And I think they knew that Sam was going to fuck it up if she was in these episodes. So here's the challenge. Sam at the wedding, Sam during Genesis's plan, and Sam and Caleb. How just her presence would have completely changed what was going on and why they would choose to remove it. So, for example, Sam at the wedding, she would have clocked Darum's stress because she can see all those signals happening even beforehand. So she would have been proactively calling out these things. She wouldn't be like sitting back and watching it happen. She'd be like, did you know that your heart rate's doing da-da-da-da-da? You know, she'd be really into it. She might have even forced him to confront the truth before it exploded the way that it did. So
or nerding out about the Kaonians and being on the planet and freaking out that she's going to be part of the wedding.
Yeah, and I think it would have changed the tone of this. Obviously, Sam changes the tone.
That could have been great then.
Seen her episode, like her episode is a lift. Now, I think it would have been interesting, and we talked about this last time, to see how this damage might impact her character. You know, we know she is very
would have been interesting,
expressive and things, but it wouldn't have necessarily been the same Sam because she obviously was still injured, and so if she would have gone, something would have happened. But yeah, I think at the wedding, it would have really, it would have quickened everything, and maybe it's for the best. Like I said, I think we could have done a lot of this in 30 minutes, and with Sam, we could have had a really interesting kind of extension of these scenes to see what it done. But how about the Genesis plan? How do you think Sam would have changed everything about the Genesis plan?
Oh man, I think she would have caught on as well. And I think that Genesis would have had to keep redirecting her. And then Sam would have had this real conflict of interest about violating rules, but then also wanting to explore this area of kind of biological life and this need. So the reason it's a shame to not have Sam here is that Sam is our data, Sam is our spot, Sam is our vessel to understand these emotions. So this is where you get a pass for dumbing down some of the dialogue and over-explaining things, because you're explaining it to a hologram that needs to have more context and needs to know.
Right.
So I think Sam could have actually benefited in both places if used correctly. So it actually seems a bit weird to me that she's not there, because I think she gives you a free pass to do exposition and to explain what people wouldn't normally want to explain.
Yeah, it's very interesting to not have her there. And I keep thinking it's because they wanted to do like the slow burn item and she would be quickening it. For example, like her Genesis plan, she would have immediately detected, all these things going on, and she would have been able to shut down the warp stuff. She would have been able to do these things. I think she probably would have been the person to ask Genesis, why are you doing this alone? Why are you thinking you can't tell us what's going on? And she'd be digging in, like you said, to kind of like get to the point a little bit faster. And this episode did slow burn to those answers, which we both feel didn't work for us as well.
It wanted duos. It didn't want a third wheel.
Yeah.
And it wanted duos with some sexual tension as well, I think.
I agree.
You could have switched Sam and Caleb. Caleb could have done a runner and disappeared. And it could have been Sam and Genesis, because Sam could have hacked onto the bridge. Sam could have felt betrayed by it, but still learned a lesson. Genesis could have manipulated Sam.
Yep. You're getting to one of my points. Yep.
They really wanted the sexual tension rather than have Sam there.
I also think that because Genesis was so desperate that she may have used Sam's glitch to her advantage.
Yeah.
and gone too far. Because she went too far with Caleb. It's just Caleb is so aloof, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But I think it would have really broken the relationship with Sam. And I don't know that they were willing to do that with those characters. How about Sam with Caleb specifically?
I don't think anybody would know what to do with that. I think they've interacted the least. And I don't know that there's not much interesting in that pairing for me.
Yeah, I think that if we were to try to interject some of what Sam does really well, which I can't believe I'm not calling her Happy, but she is somebody who brings in like an exuberance, a joy, and a comedic relief that I feel is really valuable, and we missed it in this episode.
Yeah, I agree.
I can see Sam pestering Caleb because Caleb likes silence and solitude, and Sam likes to be involved, and every second counts. It's all a mission to learn more, and maybe it would have felt like she would have been dragging him towards his growth instead of him finding it.
Yeah. Or him getting there in spite of her, not because of her. Because it's very much because of some unpacking with Genesis.
Yeah, it's like he got there with comfort with Genesis, and it would have been more confrontational with Sam.
Yes, exactly. You know what they should have done? What they should have done?
What should they have done?
And they could have. This could have been a terrible idea. C-plot, Doctor and Sam. Doctor is trying to repair Sam, and we get to dig in a bit deeper. Keep the episode the same length. So we tighten up some of those conversations on Keonia and some of the other stuff with Genesis and Caleb. We tighten that up, but we do a third storyline with the Doctor and Sam, and just digging into why he doesn't want to mentor her, what she's missing, what her expectations is. Like, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, a little paired off episode. We could have lost the meteor shower at the end. We could have lost some of the
3 interesting duos.
Overhead smiling shot of Genesis and Caleb. We could have shortened things up a little bit. You could have given
them 12 minutes.
And although
of the 55.
Totally agree that Captain Kitty doesn't need 3 pairs of shoes, and she had to struggle with her suitcase. We could have cut that.
She's like becoming more you every single episode. It's amazing.
She is my spirit animal in Star Trek.
She absolutely is. I love it.
Well, thanks for doing that with me. I missed
That was
Sam
great
in this
exercise.
episode.
I liked that. I didn't even think about her, which is telling. So yeah, that's really, really cool. I like that. Predictions, we were both way off. Doesn't matter. That was obvious.
Well, it was more about Genesis. That was a little bit odd.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you did guess it was going to be about Genesis after your 3rd week of guessing that. So yeah, props to you. An interesting question was raised by Brojim on the Discord.
Brojim!
Because we've been pipping Academy pretty highly. So yeah, the crux of their message is I've been lower in pips than most I've seen online, and certainly our wonderful hosts. Thank you. Even if I have been enjoying it more than I thought I would. I find myself wondering, does everyone pip in a vacuum? Like, is 4 pips in Starfleet Academy equal to 4 pips in TNG? And this is a really interesting question, because if I was to compare one of my 3 pip episodes or 4 pip episodes from Starfleet Academy, there are some TNG 4 pippers that are obviously way, way, way beyond. So have you been subconsciously like pipping it just as like what's in front of you, or in like comparison to the other things you've pipped?
I only remember what happened today in general. Yeah. So I'm definitely pipping to my moment. But I will say, when I watch older Star Trek, I really shift my expectations about what the show is capable of doing, or what
higher or lower? The
story, what the writers are able to do, how storytelling has changed. So I feel like I hold modern Star Trek to a higher standard than I do older Star Trek. But that is like, I think I've given some pretty high pips to some TOS episodes that I don't know that I really ever want to watch again, because I'm watching it going, wow, we're spending a lot of time just walking down the hallway and looking at ladies, or
that's Kirk flexing.
This fight scene has gone on for a substantial amount of time.
And there has been no fighting that I can see.
And so then, but I have to compare it to itself in my mind and go, yeah, for what this is, I think this is a high pip. But like, if I was to compare a TOS episode to Strange New Worlds or even Academy, I would say Academy is a higher pippage because it's doing more for me. I feel like just modern storytelling does a lot more for me.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm definitely not doing like a side-by-side comparison of all of my 4 pips or 3.5 pips. Like, there's not enough on the scale to do that. So I'm kind of pipping in a vacuum with my previous knowledge of Star Trek as a bit of a barometer, but I'm really trying to almost treat Starfleet Academy, Strange New Worlds, each of these shows as the first Star Trek show that's ever been on TV as much as possible, and then trying to pip it like that. So, and also like not all pips are created equal. So there is a big spectrum along 3 pips. So I could have 50 episodes that are all 3 pips that I would then rank individually and have them on a different list. So all my 3 pips doesn't mean that I like them all the same. It's just, it's an imperfect system of ranking things, but
I keep thinking
we kind of like to do it.
Pippage is kind of like inflation, like 3 pips for like TOS is valued it's a very different value to today's pippage.
It's amazing.
I don't know.
I love that.
I don't know how to answer that exactly, but that's a great question.
Yeah, great thought that I hadn't really thought of. So thank you, Brojum, and thank you, Discord. Ambassador Pippage.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one 2 pips.
Wow.
Are you surprised?
Yeah.
Why?
I thought it would be a bit higher.
No, I did not overall enjoy this episode, but I also like parts of it enough that I'm not going to give it no pips.
Yeah. No, I'm 2 pips as well. So we've arrived at the same place, but from kind of different angles a little bit.
Yeah, I think it just suffers from having too much time on its hands. And
shortest episode of the season, by the way.
And but that says a lot. Like I was not as drawn in, but I can see what they're doing, and I still think it's probably overall going to be a really important episode to the season.
Perhaps. Well, next week's episode is going to be Season 1, Episode 8 of Starfleet Academy, The Life of the Stars. The crazy titles. I love it.
We're talking about burnout? It's going to be about, like, every star, you're born.
They do. I took that as The Life of the Stars as in, like, celebrities.
No,
like, imagine
Ian,
the
this
celebrities
is a fucking space show, man.
There are famous people in Star Trek. Captain Jean-Luc Picard is as famous as they get.
He's dead.
No. Oh, no, probably. Well, no, he's in a golem body.
Oh, he's in a golem body.
He's in a golem body. However, he is in what you saw in my eyes was he's in a golem body, but then remembering he's in a golem body designed to die exactly when his original body probably would have died.
That's right.
At about 140.
Yeah.
However, time travel, cryogenics, freezing stuff, he could be out there. We have not seen him die, Ambassador.
Wow. I just stepped in it and I am so sorry.
I just pointed at the table right in it. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. We will see you next week for Starfleet Academy. Find us in the usual places in the description. Remember, email us. It's Ian and Deneé at gmail.com. Join the lovely Discord. Join the Patreon club. The founding tieflingers to give us all of your money, and then we'll give you an episode a day early and advert free.
All of your money being $3.
But divided into easy $3 monthly segments for the rest of your life. It's really a bargain. Ambassador, anything else?
No, that's it from me.
Okay, well...
I will say we put out a little feeler for ideas for talking at a Comic-Con. And if you have an idea for us that you think that you would like to see Ian and I either hosting a panel or just throwing our name in the ring for Comic-Cons, whether that's one that's coming up now or if you're listening to this episode in the future, there's Comic-Cons all the time. But we have an opportunity to throw our name in the hat, but we're hoping for a little support from our community with some ideas just to kind of get us launched. And you can send your ideas to iananddeneé@gmail.com.
You have amazing ideas. We love them. You remember segments we have already forgotten. Well, until next week, I'm Captain Ian, and I will sweat, and I will sweat doubly on principle.
And when a ship is at battle within itself, identify the target. Don't find out until it's too late.
Live long on Podsper.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Captain's Pod. If you'd like to get in touch with the podcast, you can send us an email to ian@iananddeneé.com. And if you want to support the show and get the episodes early, you can go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/iananddeneé. If you want to catch the show live, we have those links down in the description for YouTube and Twitch. And then I think I'm supposed to close this hailing frequency, so bloop bloop, we're out. I could have changed it. Do you want to hear my altered one?
Always.
When a ship is at battle within itself, identify the target, before it warps across the room.
Nice.
Which is not what was actually said in the episode at all.
Pew! I love that. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she has bat-like hearing and a bad case of the munchies. It's Ambassador Deneé. Oh, that's terrible. I'm probably going to have to edit that out. That hurt.
All right,
let's do it.
all right.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Captain's Pod, Stardate. Done that bit. Why are you nervous about today's episode?
Because we've liked them all so far, and I'm nervous.
That should be a good thing. That means that the trend should continue. What makes you think that this one will be bucking the trend?
Well, you know me. I'm always looking for the exit. I'm waiting for the axe to fall.
That is an interesting insight into your psychology.
I know. A little bit of a survival person.
Yeah. Prepare for the Titanic to sink,
Mm-hmm.
and you won't be disappointed when it sinks.
I won't go on the Titanic.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? It's not prepare enough to not go on the ship. We're still on the ship. We're just ready for it to go wrong.
Barrier to entry, much easier. I'm just sitting on the couch watching the episode. I'm not actually going onto a ship on the ocean.
Okay, here's my counterpoint. Even if it sucks, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we've had 6 pretty solid episodes.
Yeah. But like, what if the crash is so bad, it starts to like seep retroactively into the previous episodes?
It's possible. They could
poison the water hole.
They could retroactively ruin some shit.
It's interesting because our original reaction is forever sealed in our podcast capsules.
Yeah.
But like as time goes on,
what if they age terribly?
Yeah, we may have.
Yeah. What if they age so bad? We were just
go back.
Hungry for new Trek.
I have to add in like a little cut in, be like, hey, this is us from the future. We've changed our minds.
We should put that at the beginning of every episode, to be honest. We have the right to change our minds immediately. When people usually put the disclaimers that like these thoughts and opinions in this video are my own and don't represent my employer, we should put that in our podcast that our thoughts are our own. They do not represent us or our opinions of future selves.
Yeah.
It is us in this moment, no further.
So today in my live notes, I put up a picture. Like there was that one time I put up a picture of you actually pausing to look on the screen for all of the information about the character Darum or whatever. Do you remember that? And I put it up on my show notes, and then someone made a meme out of it.
What was I doing? Oh, on the screen. Yeah, I remember that. I was standing in front of the TV. I looked like the back end of Bernie Sanders when he's like in that chair.
Yeah, and then today I put up another picture of you eating noodles when the cat was just like waiting for you to
drop a noodle.
That was so cute.
I had no idea the cat was just full eye contact on my noodles.
Full eye contact on the noodles.
When everything's meant to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. Yeah. What? Yeah, we're recording. Yeah, what's wrong with that?
You usually don't like people to hear.
Wait, because that's not my actual singing. That's just me being
voice,
a goofball.
It's just like your voice.
It wasn't my voice. That was my goofball voice.
It was a bit Kermity.
Miss Piggy.
That wasn't
wait, I'm Kermity Frog.
Now it's gone. It's done.
Dang it! Fuck! Jesus! Why is my mic fighting me? What's going on? Here we go. Jeez, that was hard work. My mic did not want to be anywhere near my face. As if you're surprised that I knew some Romulan swear words.
I am.
Only a Varul would assume that of me.